Welcome to a special Sideline Sports show. We have Alex El Toro Vargas of Star Boxing, who's going to be boxing this Saturday, May 13th, at the Paramount in Huntington, New York. Alex is from New York as well, so we're going to have a lot to talk to him about. We're joined by Scott Morganroth from the South Florida Tribune. Scott, what's going on today?
Great to see you, JB and Alex. Pleasure to meet you.
Nice to meet you guys as well.
So, Alex, you are undefeated. You're 12-0. You got 4 knockouts. When you're training for fights and you haven't lost, what's going on through your mind to keep you motivated to keep that record perfect?
It's just like an internal thing, no fighter wants to lose. In the pros, a loss sets you back a lot. So it's just that motivation to not take that first loss. You just want to keep winning, keep building the record, and focus on one fight at a time. That's really it.
So you're from Long Island. You grew up further east. You're still heavily involved in the community. You're a police officer in Huntington, where you're going to be fighting at the Paramount. How important is this to you to be fighting in your home area? You're almost your hometown.
It's pretty neat. You go to work and you pass by the Paramount constantly, and people know you're a fighter, and everyone on the job knows I'm the fighter, and it's pretty cool to be headlining where you work and have all of them come out. It's just it's good for my coworkers to come out, and even the people out just in the town of Huntington that I get to deal with on a daily basis. I think it's a positive thing.
So I read that the fans in the stands are going to be wearing these El Toro T-shirts, and I think you have one on, if I'm seeing correctly.
No, I don't. I should have worn it.
Oh, I was hoping you had it on because I was reading about it. It says that they go pretty wild when you're fighting and get all these fans in the El Toro T-shirts.
Yeah,
and I was like, that's pretty cool. To have that kind of fan base in your home area. That's got to be awesome.
Yeah, it's something my dad came up with when I first turned pro. He was like, let's make shirts for each fight, change it up, and we'll match it with your trunks. And fortunately, I have great sponsors that get these shirts and get them covered. And so what we do is whoever buys a ticket through us, we give them a T-shirt. So then next thing you know, everyone that night saying wearing, it could be lime green. All you see is lime green up in the bleachers and the stands. So it's cool to have that many people supporting and wearing your shirt. And before the fights, I'll get videos of everyone hanging out in the village and they're all wearing the shirt. So it's a good feeling.
That's great. Now, with being a southpaw, how does that make you more difficult to fight against?
I think just because I'm so used to going against righties, and they aren't as used to going against southpaws all the time. So me constantly doing that, I think you're just so used to seeing a righty that we have those advantages that they're not used to. Then the punches are coming from an opposite angle, pretty much. So it's just using it to your advantage. It's you could also be a southpaw and not use those things at work, and it doesn't do anything for you. So it's just being smart and using the southpaw stance to your advantage.
So, Alex, let me ask you a question. You talk about fighting southpaw. Did you ever draw from the movie Rocky about the southpaw, knowing that you go to that style for a while, but you could switch righty just to kind of mix it up and keep your opponent off balance?
Yeah, I've never as far as switching stances, you're saying?
Yeah, I mean, sometimes fighters, obviously you're a southpaw, but
yeah.
I know that your right has to be effective to some degree because, when you're counter punching a little bit, you want to keep, the whole idea of boxing being the sweet science is you want to keep your opponent off balance any way that you can.
Yeah. I think that's what helps is being a southpaw, mainly keeping someone off balance, because you can make all these movements. And like I said, they're not used to you going a certain way or angling off, and everything's just opposite to them. As far as switching stances, I think it's a good idea. Some fighters use it well. They can go righty and confuse the fighter. But not myself. We've just kept it to the southpaw stance and trying to perfect that. and it's worked so far.
Let me go to a football example. I know you're probably not old enough to understand this, but I know that one of the best left-handed quarterbacks I've ever seen is a guy named Kenny Stabler. And I know if anybody's ever known anything about Kenny, he used to drive people nuts because when you throw from the other side, it's all about how you direct, in that case, the ball, and how you're able to take the same approach towards the boxing game itself. So do you find that sometimes being a southpaw is a huge advantage for you, where right-handed fighters are a dime a dozen, but left-handers aren't?
Yeah, definitely. I think, like I said, I think it has so many advantages. It's just using it. You have to use the advantages. If not, you're not throwing the fighter off. You're not keeping them off balance. You're not doing anything that's different for them. But if you do the things that, being a southpaw, moving in a certain direction and throwing certain punches, then yeah, it's going to be really tough for a fighter, and then them having to adjust after a few rounds of dealing with it.
So, I mean, you've been boxing since you're 6 years old, right?
Yeah.
So, you've also played football. You were a captain of the football team. What did football bring you to your boxing career?
I think boxing brought me more to my football career.
Okay.
I think that just the work you have to put in as a boxer is way more than I ever had to do as a football player. I think the mental aspect is much tougher. So I think most things in boxing were tougher than anything in football, from the training to the discipline and things like that. So having to stay calm, it's only you in the ring. In football you have a team, and there's other guys that take the slack off of you. So I think that boxing helped me with football much more in all of those senses.
So Alex, let me ask you, what fighter did you idolize growing up as a kid?
It was always Mike Tyson. That's how I got into fighting.
Mike Tyson, okay.
That's my favorite fighter of all time. I was 6 when I was watching. My dad would watch fights in the basement, and it would be Mike Tyson fights, and I watched him fight, and that's what got me into it. And me and my dad started sparring in the basement, training in the basement until I was old enough to go to the gym. But I mean, from then until now, I think Mike Tyson is my favorite of all time. I don't think there will ever be another Mike Tyson. Just his style, his strength, everything he had. So he's that's my favorite fighter. I've always idolized.
I don't like to assume anything, but I do assume that you're not going to bite anybody's ear off, right?
No, that's definitely something I'm staying away from. Definitely not going to bite people.
Yeah. So if they're not named Evander, you're not going to bite their ear off. I hate to interrupt you, JB, but this is so cool with this guy. Okay, I saw the first Mike Tyson Evander Holyfield fight with my ex-wife out in Vegas. Of course, that's not why she was my ex-wife. Okay, there are other reasons. And so I said, "Wow, 11-round fight." It was an unbelievable fight, and I'm sitting next to James Earl Jones. So I wanted to buy the pay-per-view thing, and I paid $49. Back in that day, it was worth a whole lot of money than it is now. Yeah. And pardon the analogy, but when Tyson decided to take care of business for all the wrong reasons with Holyfield, my wife bit my head up for spending that $50. So as long as you keep it clean and real, we're okay here. Yep. It's a good guy to idolize.
We'll be biting people, that's for sure.
Alex, you're really well-rounded. You graduated from SUNY Cortland. You want to go back and get your master's degree. You're a police officer, and you're an undefeated fighter. Having all those things going together, how do you feel that makes you, being ready to fight? How does all that add into your will and desire in the ring?
I think it's just, these are all things I've wanted to accomplish. Since I was a little kid, I was, kind of set these goals. I always wanted to get my college degree. I always wanted to be a Suffolk County police officer, and win the Golden Gloves and be a pro fighter. And now, I mean, obviously I had my doubts at some points where, maybe one's not going to work out. A lot of them are tough to accomplish. And now it's just, I look at that as like I'm living all of my dreams, So I'm just trying to have the most fun with right now. My focus is on the fight, trying to have the most fun I can with it, and just really taking the moment and enjoy it and have fun. And, hopefully pay off and be 13-0 now, and then just keep it going.
So where do you see your future going at boxing?
Boxing, I just want to take it one fight at a time. Like right now, win this fight. It's an important fight. It's my comeback fight. And then from there, take some time off, spend it with some family, go back to work, and kind of ease up the mind, because boxing is very stressful and, mentally and physically tasking. So take some time, and then whatever opportunities come next, we'll see where it's going. But just get this one out of the way, get a win, and then see what presents itself next.
So when people talk about the gold standard of undefeated fighters, the man that comes to my mind is Rocky Marciano.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts about, obviously you want to finish undefeated, but what are your thoughts about what Rocky Marciano did going 49-0, knowing it's very hard for anybody, because a lot of them are going to want to stay a little too long and then they had that blemish written off. But what Rocky Marciano did, but you're still undefeated too. So does it ever occur to you that you want to go as long as you can undefeated when you find that your skills are at their peak, and then you don't want to be on the downside?
Yeah, I think what Rocky Marciano did was amazing, and back then you fought, there was really no picking and choosing who you're fighting. Nowadays, I think it's too much into the undefeated record thing. I think too many guys are scared of taking a loss, and I think that hurts the sport. So yeah, obviously every fighter wants to keep that undefeated record, but at the end of the day, you got to go out there and fight. If you put the work in, I just think that knocking down fighters too much for taking a loss, even if it's a tough fight. If it's a tough fight, I don't think you should be dropped so much. So it's natural to want to stay undefeated. It sounds great, but to make the sport the best it can be, and to feel the best you can be, I think you've got to take the chances against these tough fighters. And back in the day, that's what Rocky Marciano did. Nowadays, it's more, picking and choosing. You don't really see tough fights. So he just did it off of sheer talent and will, where nowadays it's more picking and choosing.
Well, you make a great point too, because obviously a lot of fighters don't want to face great competition. They really don't.
Yeah.
They don't mind taking these guys that they should get a victory over. But I think it's great, even with a loss or two, that you're able to face stiffer competition. That way, in your mind, psychologically, it's settled that I didn't take what Dick Vitale would call cupcakes. Okay.
Yeah.
We wanted to make sure that we were looking at fighting fillets.
Yeah.
And that to me is a credit to what your philosophy is in terms of what you're trying to do. More power to you.
Yeah, thank you.
So Alex, I mean, for people that aren't on Long Island or New York City or that area, is there a way to see the fight this Saturday?
I'm really not sure. I know Star Boxing has a new website. I think it's starboxing.tv. I think that's where people can stream it.
Okay.
I'm not 100%. I haven't heard anything on it yet. But oh yeah, starboxing.tv. So that's where they're streaming it.
Awesome.
Awesome.
Yeah, because I'm going to have to check it out. I mean, I used to be in New York. I'm not in New York at the moment. So I definitely want to see your fight. I'm excited about it. And how can people find you and, more about you as well?
You can find me on social media, Instagram. It's Alex Vargas 631. I'm on Facebook, Alex Vargas. And it's at Google, YouTube, see previous fights, things like that.
So, Alex, we look forward to seeing you fight Saturday at the Paramount. Best of luck to you, and hopefully we can talk to you before your next fight.
Yeah, definitely. Thank you guys for having me.
Well, I'll be looking for you over the weekend. Never really knew much about you, but now after investing about 14 minutes or so, I'll be pulling for you. So go out there and take care of business, Alex, okay?
I will.
Have a great day, Alex. And again, this has been Sideline Sports with a special interview with Alex Vargas, Star Boxing. Remember, Saturday, May 13th at the Paramount in Huntington. If you're in New York, make sure you're there. If not, what was the website again, Alex?
Starboxing.tv.
Make sure you're checking it out on the website so you can stream the fight Saturday, May 13th. Have a great day, everybody.